Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Let us actually see if this here works. I've been working all morning on this here. So, welcome. This here is a PC build that I'm gonna do, and the goal is actually to test the hardware, install some things, and it's not going to be put into the case right now because the case is a server. The server is running right now. It's running 24/7. It's my NAS box. So what I'm going to do, I need to transfer some data around, but we're going to boot it up. We're going to see everything. And you can see in the corner right now that this is the parts that we're looking at. The parts are ASUS Prime B350 motherboard with a Ryzen 5 1500X. We have some Corsair 16 gigabyte memory. It's 3000 speed because Ryzen really likes high speed memory. This here should be compatible with Ryzen. It's been validated at least, so I hope that works. We have some storage here. We have two storage options. Only one of them is going to be used for the primary store. The other one is going to be a cache drive for my NAS. It's something special. I'm maybe going to tweet a little bit about that and maybe show you how you set that up, depending on how much time I have. I'm going to use some of my weekend to actually upgrade all this here, and I have a lot of data I need to transfer around. There's a 2 terabyte storage that I'm borrowing from my brother. Because I need that space to store some of my data on, and then I'm going to build up my RAID array for my NAS box again, and that's actually the problem because it's too slow and I made a mistake in the configuration, or my needs were not that high at that moment. So that's most of the parts. So you're probably going to stop seeing this here. I've set up some things around here, and also you should be able to see monitor and everything. So yeah, let's get to it. So you should still be able to hear me, and I'm going to turn off this here right now. So the power supply we have right here, and I am watching chat. The power supply we have here is an EVGA power supply, and this here's a spare power supply I have because we're going to boot it up on the bench here. I have some gloves here, so anti-static. We have the other storage option here. It's one turner. It's going to be a cache drive. We have some extra stuff here. We have the Ryzen 5. This here comes with a cooler already. We're going to use that because we're not going to overclock this here. It's not made for overclocking, or it's not primarily made for overclocking. It's for stability that I'm using this here. So the goal is to actually get a stable system out of this. Yeah, and it's the first time that I'm doing a Ryzen build. Other systems have been Intel, but Ryzen has been really competitive in the market. So the first thing we're going to do here is actually, and I am recording this here, so if you're watching this as recording, please hit that subscribe button and follow me, because more to come, always. There's plenty of content already on the system. So these here are some working gloves that I have. So right now we're not going to use this. Right now we're not going to use this. This here is also not going to be used. So right now, memory and all that. So let's look at this here. Has this here been opened before? No, it doesn't look like it. Okay. So I have the motherboard right here. Pretty simple. It's ATX motherboard. You can get this here as a micro ATX also. But that is not something we need. Actually, what I want to do here actually is see where is the manual for it. We need the backplate also. Backplate and manual drivers we don't need. This here is really piss poor drive connections. I don't need the SATA drive connections right now. I have plenty of spare, so we're just gonna put that back in. If I can get it back in. There we go. Holy crap, this box here is beat up. Okay, we have this here, and we have this here. Let's look at this here. So I'm actually upgrading from this here's a really cheap motherboard. It's around lower than 100 bucks. I'm actually upgrading from Intel Haswell chip in my system which has been running for many years. It's a 3770K, and the reason why I'm using that is because of it was Intel iCore 7, and I needed the cores because this here is actually going to run virtual machines on it also. So that is one of the reasons why I need a 8-core. This here is an 8-core, 4 cores, 2 threads in each core. That's 8 cores in total. I could have gone with a 1600, but I do not need that many cores. It's actually memory that I need. But memory is so goddamn expensive that this memory here costs more than the CPU and more than the motherboard. So that is actually the most expensive component. So if we look at I/O here, you can see here this motherboard is actually already okay with graphics chips, but Ryzen doesn't have internal GPU. So we have, if I can find it, there we go, I'm lying around here. I have a really cheap 210 NVIDIA card right here that is going to be running graphics on it because it needs graphics so I can get output from it. So first off, let's see here. We have memory banks. I'm guessing this here is A1 and A2. If I look at it correctly. Motherboard. Yeah, this here is the lookout. Yeah. Okay, let's see what does it say. Yeah, black is A1 and the other one is B1. Okay. So good. We have motherboard layout. Sweet. As you also can see here, there is no power on plug or boot up system on the system inside, so we will have to use, I think, where is it? Probably down here. We'll have to use a screwdriver to shorten it so it will boot without a case. We have gig LAN. I'm gonna put in a 2nd gig in it, so that's okay. I have an expansion card because there's 6 storages. 4 of the storages here is primary. These 2 here are shared with the M.2 slots. And actually the first thing we're going to do now is actually install the M.2 here, which is an Intel P1600 120 gig drive. Plenty of space for OS because it's only going to run the OS. So it's SSD6, Intel chip, not Optane. Optane is actually still expensive, so let's put that down here. So 120 gig, perfect for my need. I know that, of course, if you're going for a system that is actually what's it called? A gaming system, you will probably want to go up with a little larger drive, maybe a 256 or maybe a 500 gig, depending on if you want to run your games from it. I recommend you do that simply because you will get a better experience of load times. You can also, of course, store your games on a 2nd drive, like a 2 terabyte drive if you want to, but the OS should be on an NVMe or SSD drive. So let us see, does this here come with screws? It does not. Okay. That is disappointing. But let's see the motherboard. I'm just gonna take off the glove right now. There's no need for it because let's see here. Okay. Motherboard. That's it. SATA cables and I see it. I see it. Where are you? Yeah, there they are. That's the NVMe drive. Okay. So first thing to do is actually install that. Let's see, we have that right here. I'm just going to put down there. Okay. And of course it's, I hate those. Okay, let's get that out here. Oh, they actually have like, so you can actually expand it to better height. But let's actually see here. So do I actually want that height? What is this? Maybe, maybe not. Let's see here. Let's take that out. It is pretty tall, so let's just screw this in here really gently. No need for force. Yeah, it's probably going to be better if I do it this way. Okay. So this here is a star screw, and I want something small. For that, I have the right tool right here. Let's see, where's my star? It's right here. I need a really small one. Go, and it's not magnetic, but I'll survive. Okay, well, that went past. It's both good and bad to have magnetic screws because magnetic interference with with components not really that good. But on this occasion here, I would really, really like it. There we go. So there's a standoff. Hey Neil, going fine, going fine. I hope you can hear me and everything. This here is a brand new setup that I've been working on all morning, so I do hope you can hear me fine and all that. But yeah, going fine. Just building or upgrading my system here and was going to share it with everybody. So that's the plan. The system we're building today, if you weren't there for the start, it is a Ryzen i5. I just put in a little bit down. Let's see if we can do it. Let's hope that works. Maybe that's better. I hope so, at least. I don't want to have it too, because I will move around things, so bumping that will be a bad thing. But anyways, thank you for that. Anyways, yeah, I just put in a, where is it? SSD here. It is NVMe drive, 120 P600 NVMe drive. Really, really inexpensive. Not that expensive. So yeah, this here is a Prime B350 motherboard, and we have a Ryzen right here, which is the neck part. We have this here. Next thing we're gonna do actually is gonna put in the memory. If this memory doesn't work, I'm gonna scream, because this here is almost $200, and it's only a 16 gig kit. So yeah, it is really, really expensive. It's actually the same kit that I'm running. I have a 32 gig kit, but it's the same type of memory I'm running in my main system. So yeah, really really high quality and all that. I love the Vengeance series. I love the LPX series because they're low profile, so that means it will not interfere with any cooler right now. But it doesn't really matter for me because I run water cooling in one of the other systems, so it's really narrow here. But since I'm going to use the internal cooler here, no, Neil, I'm not going to run RGB. I love RGB, but the problem is, if you want good RGB things, Corsair makes them, but I actually think that the G Skill makes them a lot better. The problem is the G Skills around here are $400 maybe for a 16 kit. So yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. So really expensive. Why wasn't it slide down? Okay. Okay. FYI, I know people will probably say that, oh, you need an anti-static and blah blah blah. Okay, first of all, I already been near my radiator, so I'm already grounded. Second, this here mat is actually really good. I've never had trouble with it. It is not grounded, this here mat, but I do recommend, of course, if you are in an environment where you know you go around your office or something and you do tend to get electric static shocks constantly, do not build without actually being grounded. There you can get wristbands that can ground you to something. For instance, it can ground you to your 220 or 230 or something like that. So always been grounded, Neil. Yeah, but I do recommend that you do that if you are building. So let's get this here in. Good. Okay, memories installed. Everything. We have the power pin here. Yeah, the VRMs are exposed, but yeah, it's not going to run too hot. So let's open up this here. This is the first time that I'm working with AMD Ryzen. First chip, first cooler. So it's going to be interesting. We have to, what the hell is that? Oh, that's probably a PC, and this here's the cooler. I do hope you like the view here of sideways and upways down. It's something I came up with on the fly this morning here, so yeah, I thought that could be nice. So if I remember correctly from the instructions here, there should be a backplate. Maybe? Maybe not. Okay. Weird. Nope, nothing in here. Maybe it's in here, okay. Because if there's a backplate, we need to take those stands off. Motherboard already has the backplate installed, so we just need to remove these here. Okay. Okay, first off, we're gonna install our first Ryzen CPU. And there should be a corner here, right? Yeah, it's right here. There's the corner. There's a little arrow right here. It's really hard to see. That's why I have a flashlight. It should be right here. Yeah, there's a corner right here. There's an arrow right there. Yeah. Okay. And FYI, doing this here wrong is really bad because all the pins are right here. Yeah. So this here should slot pretty easily in. And this here is because the pins are in it, so make sure it's pretty good fastened, and then just like so. Perfectly installed. And again, the CPU already has a thermal compound on it, so there's no need for worrying about that. Again, if you want to overclock this here, do not use this here. It is gonna run hot as hell. So I do recommend that you pick up another cooler. If you want to go with a pretty cheap option, which I was looking at, is actually all-in-one cooler, which is the Cooler Master Liquid 120 or 240 light. That will give you okay cooling for a medium to light overclocking, and also will give you a good. I've seen reviews of it. I was actually gonna use it because I wanted something that would make sure that it's cool, and I hate using these here box coolers in general, but I'm going to use it with that because I'm not going to do overclocking on it, because I was actually going to do overclocking on it, but the board I'm using here is not optimal for it. So you can go with something like that, and you can get the light, and that is actually made for low sound, so it's not made for heavy overclocking. Then you should go with something like a 115 Corsair 115i all-in-one liquid cooler. You can of course go with a Noctua and all that, but again, if you want to go with liquid, all-in-one cooling is great. I actually don't own any of them, but yeah. Okay, enough talking. Let us go over to dismantling this here with my screwdriver here. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Actually, this board here is actually a really, really good option. It's been getting really, really good reviews as just a cheap option. And with this board and this CPU here right now, you should be able to actually do a simple upgrade if you can find memory that is not that expensive. You should be able to go around upgrading to a decent CPU with perfect great performance, and this here is under $500, including maybe a good okay graphics card. But again, graphics cards are also really, really high in price right now. They've bumped up again because of the mining curve, and I'm not going to comment on that. I don't really care about mining in general. And again, I can understand from a perspective that, well, demand is there, and of course they will go with. Of course, if there's demand for their product, they will sell it, and I can understand that. So why not? So that should pretty much line up, and I think the CPU is probably this one here, so this here should be perfect. So let's switch over here. I'm just going to make sure that this here is actually lined up. So some part, that's actually thumb screwed I want. I don't want to push down on it because there is actually not a lot of room here. Maybe I should actually do it a bit. Okay. Yeah, that was a little bit too much, because I also need the other corner to curve in. Yeah, I don't like this here installation at all. Well. Yeah, this here is definitely figure something else out, Intel or AMD, because maybe it's easy and all that, but if you just fuck up one time, you're gonna go straight to the board. It's a nice option and all that, but you put this in, and it's not made for this cooler here. Just weird. I think it's for the other one, the box one, which has a clip-on, and that's something totally different. I am so baffled about how this here is going. Okay, we're actually gonna just want to see what the hell I'm doing here. So that is actually a decent. And we're not gonna, just gonna nice and tight. And this here is a torque, so you can hear it rotate. So it should be nice and tight here. There we go. Don't want to get too much tension on it because you will strip. Yeah, it's tight. Okay. So we're gonna put those back. Which is really weird. You have to dismantle the motherboard to actually put on the cooler. It's just hilarious weird. Okay. Okay, just double checking some things here. Again, I do not know this motherboard. Normally I can pretty much easily see this here, so I want to check the layout here. Yeah, the CPU fan is the white one. Okay. There we go. There we go. Nice. Okay, so we have all that. Now we just need to hook up the power. And again, we are going to run this here on the screw fell out. There we go. On the bench here because it is. I'm going to upgrade. I'm going to put it in the case later when I've moved all the data and all that, because this here is going into the server as mentioned before. So yeah. And booting it up from this here cardboard, it shouldn't be a problem. So, well, I totally understand why you wouldn't like to build because you're and all, of course, warranty and all that. If you're not comfortable with doing something like this here, and as you can see, it's not expensive. But if you are and I'm not trying to offend anybody. I've done it before when I started out, and if you do not have like okay tools like a really good screwdriver, something else, at least something decent, and different screwdrivers for different occasions, because this here large sucker is not going to work really well on this here. So having something special for microelectronic stuff, like I have here, with a lot of different bits on it, will make things a lot easier, and that's from knowledge. I've fucked up boards before, back 10 years ago, when I was still building. So it's knowledge, and if you're not comfortable with that, and you really, of course, spend a lot of money on something like this here, I can totally understand why you would go with a pre-built system or get a company to build it for you. Say just build it, test, and make sure everything is there, and there's warranty on it. If something is wrong, you just go ahead, call them, and say, hey, something is wrong. Why is this here not working anymore? Totally understand that. It is. Yeah, and you need troubleshooting. This here is not easy, but normally if you see all this here, and there's plenty of people out there on the web that will help you, including myself, that will of course help you out if there's trouble. But again, you do need a little bit of knowledge here. But again, the components you can't really do wrong, as in like how you want to install it. If you really read the instructions, there's a marked corner there. It could be a little bit better marked on the motherboard, in my opinion. But that's just me. The cooler is pretty easy to install normally. It's just you need to be careful here. Memory you can't fuck up because there's a slot right here that is set. If you pull it wrong, it will not put down. That's normally the keys right here. The memory is pretty, the module for NVMe is also there. You just need to be careful screwing it down. And again, this here is it's delicate components, so you do not need to use force. But again, but as I said, this here board here does have video out, but the CPU, and that's also something you need to know. Ryzens right now, the Ryzens right here don't have a built-in GPU. You need something else, so that's also something you need to be aware of. It's first the next ones, the A GPUs that are coming out now, and I think you actually get some of them also now that actually take uses of these here. So we need to also put in, of course, a video card here. which we are going to slot in right here. So yeah. Okay, back to power. So I have a spare power supply right here. So the only thing we need right now is cables. We need the 24 pin, and that's why I love modular stuff. We need, where is the CPU thingamajiggy? And where are you? That gives 12 volts. There we go. And that's also a nice thing they put in on EVGA is that they actually say CPU. So you don't need to look that far. So everything is marked and coded. Makes things a lot easier. I remember back in the day nothing was actually done the right way. So, and where are we at? CPU right here. Let us actually. It's keyed. I broke the key a long time ago, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Okay. So again, these things are pretty easy to build normally because you can't do anything wrong. This here, and again, it says in the manual, this here is eCPU power, which is for the MOSFETs and what's it called? The VRAM here. And this here is also for, I think it's a 12 volt rated. This here is a 24. I can't remember all the volts. I've never been good at that. But again, you need both of those. Those are pretty much the standards that you need to boot up a board. The rest is, some boards will have, for instance, what's best here? I think this here is the best way. We'll have like high-end motherboards, like for instance the one that I'm using in my build. We'll actually have a extra one where you can plug in down here, which is to give the PCI Express ports more juice because it's made for 4-way ASLI. So yeah. But right now we only need that. And I have Ethernet, I have a motherboard right here, I have that here, I need a power cord. Question is, do I actually have a power cord right here? I actually know I have a cord already unplugged right here somewhere. There we go. There we go. There we go. Ah, shit, it is grounded. I can't use that. Not that it's bad that it's grounded, but the plug that I have nearest is not grounded. So we will use this one here, which does not have the ground pin. It actually is grounded. EU, Denmark in general, is really weird, and it's the same with every country. There's no standardization for grounding and cables and how you convert 110 to 30 and so on and so forth. So you always need a converter. This here is actually grounded. This is what we call a Shoko plug. It has 2 plugs right here, and you can see there's a third one that is not put in. That is something we use long time. That's the ground. But in Norway and Sweden, they actually have the ground right here. And that's why it's called Shoko. And this here is actually starting to be the standard right now for grounding. But because a lot of old houses and all that don't have these types of here, they made only these here, so it's never ground on them. So they started using this here. And I actually have a plug right here that is, let's see, this here is powered off. That is right behind here, which uses those here. So it actually is grounded, it's just using something else. And I'm not an expert in any sort of way on all this here when it comes to electricity. So leave a comment if you want to know a little bit about it. But I do not know jack or shit about it in general. Okay. 8. And you can say, oh, you need to blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I know. But right now I'm looking at, because this here is the panel I/O. And I'm looking for the power. And that is these two here, if I look at it correctly. Because these two here should be power LED, and the next one is power. Then there's a block here. Let's see here. How the hell? It's always the way, how do you turn it around and how does it actually look? So 8. I'm looking at 8. Yeah. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and what the fuck? Yeah, nicely done, ASUS. Put it in fucking red on black. The contrast sucks, so I can't read it. So that's for panel, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and yeah, it's those two here. Those two, okay. Those two to turn it on. Okay, next thing we want to do is, where's the HDMI cable? There it is. HDMI right here. Just gonna put that away, and I don't need that right now. Where we go? There we go. There we go. Boot power. And my trusty keyboard. Right here. And just gonna plug it into this one here, should be okay. And now we need a screwdriver. Preferably a flat one. Okay. Let's see if we blow shit up. Oh, it lights up. So no, we've done something wrong, right? Okay. So if everything is working as expected, these two here. There we are. You should be able to see it now. We have boot, guys. We have boot. Okay. And this is one of the reasons why I wanted to show you guys actually everything, because I can capture it from here, and also you can see a little bit of there. So, okay, so right now we have one fan profile right here, and I love these ASUS, the new ASUS boards, so that's really, really cool. You can see the memory speed is also okay. We are around 33%. We have a speed of 3500. Everything looks good. It's actually gone ahead and done everything. So now I need to remember how these here work. Oh, there we go. Okay. Just switching over to advanced. So we're gonna go with auto. Keep current settings. Yeah, okay. VRAM timing. The first thing we're gonna do is actually I want to The first thing we want to do is actually go with memory frequency, and we should be able to hit this here. And with this type of cooling, should we try? Why not? Yeah, let's try this here. Yeah, target is 3500. Target is here. So yeah. And the core ratio is, what's that? Is that auto? Yeah, okay. DGV RAM, yeah, we're just gonna go with that. Okay, so we have AMD. This here is brand new to me, just so you know. I've never, hey, later Neil, thank you for stopping by. I've never actually worked with AMD's thing, so there's a lot of things new to overclocking and everything here. So I'm not gonna overclock, I'm just gonna check everything out. It's going for the 4 cores. It has this here, and there's a turbo option, so it's good. It should go up to a couple of things here. It's going with that. The one thing we are gonna go with is I need to check if the M.2 slot is disabled by default. USB configuration, that is also okay. CPU. I need that because we're going to virtualize on it. It says enable CPU virtualization, so we need that. That's the tweaker. Erase. No, we're not going to erase that. Oh yeah, I need to remember something. What version of the BIOS are we running? 2.17.12.64. I actually need to test that because fast boot is enabled. We want fast boot. We want boot configuration is forced. We are gonna go with UEFI only because that's what I use. Secure boot we are not gonna use. It already has found the Intel good, so that is great. So monitor, let's see here, CPU speed, the voltage is okay, Q fan configuration, CPU fan, power, yeah, the limit is here, so that's also great. It's nice and quiet, not too overviewed here, just checking chat. So all that is good. So next thing we're gonna do right now is actually without fucking everything up. There we go. There we go. Okay. So remove that. Give me a sec, guys. I'm just gonna check ASUS Prime B50 Plus, which is the one that we have. I need to know the BIOS update support. Drivers and utilities. Please choose an operating system. I need firmware and BIOS. When was this released? BIOS version 3407, released in December 8. Okay. So the only thing I need to check is actually figure out the BIOS version. So that is the main question. Yeah, BIOS build date is too old, so we need to upgrade it. Okay, so we're gonna save that and have that boot up. The next thing we're gonna do is actually install the operating system, just because I don't have a drive. Let's see here. I'm just gonna check. I think this is the correct boot drive. And there we go. And we're gonna plug in also some Ethernet to install that. Okay. Let's see if we'll boot. It's booting, so that's good. And this here is just, I think it's Windows 2016 servers, so yeah. And we can see it's UEFI because it's using the logo here, so yeah. There we go. So that's great. We want the desktop experience. Oh shit, that was the wrong one. Back. This here is the experience that I want. And I have a key for it, a legal key that I bought a long time ago. Or I have something for work because it actually is work related that I'm working with with servers, so all good. So the OS should be up and running in just a sec. Shouldn't take long. And the idea here is that I have an expansion card for 4 more of these here. So I have an expansion card for what's it called? SATA drive. So I have four more here. So 8 in total. I think I have 6 drives right now. The cache will run on one of these here. And right now the NVMe is taking up one of these here. So we're going to use this one here. And that's going to be the 120 that's going to be hooked up right here. That's going to be a cache drive for the speed. But right now we're going to transfer a lot of data over to it. And again, since this here is from USB to NVMe, it's still slow as hell. So yeah, it should be okay. It should be okay. Just go through the board. There's plenty of stuff on it. So it's actually again a pretty okay board. It has 6 total SATA. It has the NVMe here, and these here are shared. So again, just remember, there's 1, 2, so one of the bandwidth is shared for these here. There's 4 ports here. There is internal USB. There is USB 3 also. There is audio inside for your connection there. You have a total of 2 graphics cards you can hook up here. And of course there's PCI Gen or PCI times 1, and we have a second PCI 3 slot here. Yeah, a pretty cool board in general. Can't really complain. I gotta say, everything works here, and I do not. Problem is, everything is RGB here. The board has it, so yeah, and it is again. It's a gaming board, or it's not a gaming board, but it's meant for gaming, and yeah. Oh, again, I think I fucked up because actually this here is the EPU power, and I think it powers a lot of things here. You can actually see through the board here. There's EPU here, it powers SATA connections and gives something else here for all the stuff here. Main course is pretty much here, so I actually think it should have. I might be mistaken, but does it have two M.2 slots? I think it only has one. Maybe it's the other one on the back, but no, I didn't see it. Didn't really see it, so yeah. Who knows? But we can find out if I look up in the manual, which I probably have right over here. It is an interesting board here. Yeah, it only has one, and that's the one we're using. That's 7. Let's see here. Yeah, and you need also to be aware that due to CPU limitation, M.2 socket support varies by processor. So if you bought maybe a small processor, it might not have booted up. And I think that's because of the Athlon series, which is actually also compatible because they managed to actually go over and switch that over to don't need this one here anymore. There we go. And there we go. I'll plug that right here. And now we need to get drivers and all that installed. But I'm gonna probably do that off camera. There's no need for you guys to watch all of that. This here was pretty much to build and show you how to assemble something. I'm just browsing through everything here, waiting for it to go. And let us let me see here. Ah, password. Okay. There we go. Let's see here. Is there anything else we need? We definitely need to upgrade the BIOS, so let's actually start with that. And do I have a mouse? Yeah. And there we go. Mouse installed. So it's just finalizing some stuff. So yeah, it should be pretty self-explanatory. Let's see here. Let's get into the system. And again, Windows Server is something totally different, so do not think this here has something to do with the normal Windows system. But there are some things here that have similarities. The interface is the same, so just be aware of that. But again, since this here is made for and again, if you want to mess with something like this here, there's trial versions you can go in and sign up for, 180 days. I can upgrade this here to a full installation because I own a legitimate key. But right now, let's actually look at what it's actually missing. Probably a lot. It's found Ethernet, so that's great. There are a lot of things that we need to check out. So it's also interesting this here will be compatible with actually Windows 16, Surface 16. It should be. Drivers should be universal for everything. But the first thing we're going to do is use the best browser to download a new browser, which is Internet Explorer. World's best browser to download a new browser. And there we go. Yeah. This here has a lot of security features, so we will turn that off for administrators. Cancel. Put it up again. Google and download Chrome. And yeah, it goes to the Danish site, but it's gotta be English no matter what. Gonna save that to the desktop. And we're gonna also a little trick here, if you're tired of seeing this here, just switch that over to this here part. So now you can go ahead and just simply switch that around, and you can easily in your browser just hook that up here. So double click here to do that, and I have some preferences that I want to do here. There we go. So now it's all about installing things from the bottom up. It shouldn't take long. I'm just gonna go ahead and download this here, and it's installed. And then we're gonna switch over to switch this over to American. Yes. Restart. There you go. Thank you. And ASUS Prime BB350 plus lock. Never translate. Okay, support. Let's see, remove that. First off, we are gonna download this here, and first we're gonna download this. And I also want 7-zip on it. Great tool. Download that. Download. Let's actually check the cores right here. It's only running 1.4 gigs because it's in sleep mode, but max is 3.5. So, but it can go higher. Okay, now we need to figure out how to actually go back. 64, and then we need to download the utility, which is right here. Actually, it was this one here I wanted. Actually, what we were gonna do here is actually, I'm a bigger fan of just using, is there a USB? Is this here? No. Use this thing. Just gonna put this here on a thumb drive right here. And it's probably going to tell me that I have updates turned. No, because it's not turned on. Great. And every time we reboot a server, you need to do this. So let us go into the BIOS and update it. So the only thing I did right now is just download the BIOS, put it on a USB flash drive, and then we're booting into the BIOS right now, and then we're going to go to Tools, and then we're going to use the flash, and then we're going to go to the storage drive, which is this one here, and then we're going to take this one here, and I want to read that file. And there we have it. Do we really want to update the BIOS to this here is version 12.4. Let me just double check here. Let's just double check. Yeah, I want to leave. So this here is 0902. From the 9th of August. Yeah, okay. Good. Just double check. I don't want to downgrade. So yeah, it is the correct one. Gonna read that. It's a little bit weird that it actually goes ahead and totally freezes up here. You can't do anything. It's a little bit unsettling seeing that, but do never, when you're doing BIOS updates, never reboot, never power off or anything. Just let it go. So we're gonna go with that. This here is the newest version. We're gonna say yes, and we're gonna see it process here. And after that, it will wipe everything that we've done. So we need to set that up again. But that shouldn't be a problem. Just gonna let it go because it should be. No, it's actually frozen here again, but that's because it's locking everything down, so nothing is no input can be actually sent only from the keyboard. So we're gonna go here and let it go, but we can see it goes up, so let it process. But this here is the newest version for this motherboard here. So that's the first step you always want to do is actually upgrade the BIOS. You can do that installing the OS if you want to. I just did it here because I didn't have to download, and I wanted to show you that the steps that it can boot and all that. So yeah, I'll leave in the comments field for this video here all the information what the system is. And I might show some pics on Instagram of the final build when it's done, because that's not going to be done here. I need to move the data from the drives. I need to swap that out and actually put that in a case. The case I'm going to reuse is, of course, the Fractal Design R5 Define Edition, which I'm going to reuse. That's where all my drive is. So I'm just going to do a simple motherboard swap and then hook everything up. Nothing too fancy there. But yeah, it is pretty interesting. Let's actually turn this here off because there shouldn't be a need for light anymore. But yeah, it's going pretty simple and all that. Man, I'm also hungry. Christ, I need to make some food soon. I'll do that as soon as we're done here and dismantle all the things that I've built. Because I actually spent a lot of time setting all this here up. I had issues. I actually found out that my extension cord for one of my USB cables is not good enough, so I need to do something about that. Luckily, I have a spare, but I need to order a new USB cable, actually, which I'm gonna do afterwards. So I can plug that directly in. I need to be USB-B, I think. But I'll figure it out later. USB cable is not that expensive. But yeah, I do think this here is a little bit better. This camera that I used to start up with was actually my Nikon, but that was only made for to actually be used for introduction of this here video through the capture card. But since I do not have primary battery on that, I hooked it up to the wall because it's actually really expensive to get a battery pack that can be hooked up to AC directly, power adapter on it, and I just don't make enough videos to spend that type of money there. It's a waste of money, and I don't use the camera. So I thought, well, let's go with webcams instead. And I had two, so they work pretty fine. There are only one of them, which is the table view from the side, is old 9000 camera, and the top is my standard camera. I actually wanted to get a 4K camera, but again, don't use it that much. And again, 4K Logitech camera are pretty expensive. Maybe down the line. If I get enough subscribers, YouTube changed a lot of things, so yeah. But it doesn't really matter. It's not my primary source of income anyways. And it's only a couple of bucks that I should make from this here. But it's nice. It's nice to get a couple of bucks and spend it on a cup of coffee and make sure that you at least get your content as at least being recognized for something. So we'll restart and we will take out this here because we don't need that anymore. The first thing we're going to do is actually go into the BIOS again, because now we need to set everything up. Because it reset everything, and it always does that. That's a nice thing about new stuff here. So again, let's switch over to F7 and go into tweaker mode. So we want to go this here. Custom core ratio. You can go manual. This here will actually give you the core ratio where you're going to keep OC turner. This here will tune actually. Let's see if we can actually tune it a little bit. I don't think we're gonna get anywhere. F7 again. Automatically overclock the frequency voltages of DRAM and frequency enhanced to ensure the installations. Ensure to install an efficient CPU fan. Yeah, I knew. We're gonna keep current settings. We're not gonna do that too much. Anyways, we were gonna go with. We need to do this. That's automatic mode. We were gonna go into fast boot. We were gonna go in and switch that to I, which is the fastest way to boot. It already knows that there is a Windows partition on it. System administrator overclocking profiles we're not going to use. It has the Q fans running on that. Everything here looks good. That is also network. That is also fine. It actually went up to 8, so that let's just keep it this way and see if we can. 3.8. Let's see if we can get stable with this here. Let us see if we can get stable with this here and we'll boot in. Should boot. Looks okay. Okie dokie. Incorrect. That's correct. Okay, we're in. Let's see, what do we have? Looks okay. That's actually the turbo clog also. Well, that's fine. So use the memory. This here is standard because that's the standard memory. It's actually overclocking it, and that's not displayed here. And we should be able to see all our cores here. Yep, 2, 4, 6, 8. That's great. Just like to view the overall settings. So yeah, and yeah. Now I just need to fill out all the things here. Actually, one of the things that I'm gonna do is this here. And also gonna change this here to H302. And do a restart. Okay, guys. That is going to be it for today. As you can see, it's actually not that hard to build a system, even though you have no idea what to expect of it. Again, this here is AMD system. First time I'm messing with AM4 sockets. Is really simple. You need to be aware of that. Again, the pins are on the CPU, so do not drop it. There are a lot of things that you need to be aware of. So yeah. But again, it works, and I'll share some pictures as soon as I've switched everything out and moved all of that. So again, thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure that that you follow me to stay tuned. And again, until next time, bye.